Greetings from EPG Pathshala. In this module, we are going to discuss more about viruses. In the previous module, I talked how virus is spreading and how they reside. In this module, we are going to look at the signature of the virus. Signature means the pattern the virus follows. The next we are going to see its storage pattern, its execution pattern, and then we are going to check about the brain virus. To start my discussion is what is a virus pattern. A virus pattern or virus signature is the virus characteristics that forms the pattern. Why we are bothered about virus's signature? Because virus's signature helps in creating program called virus scanner. You all use antivirus program. What is it? It finds out the virus pattern on your system and tries to remove it. So, these are called the virus scanner programs. They automatically detect and sometimes removes the virus. On the screen, I am showing you the pattern for the code red worm. It always starts with a slash and default.ida characters question mark and then repetitive numbers of n. Then it goes as %u 9090 %u 6858 %u cbd3. You can see on the screen the next few lines how a pattern follows, and the last is http/1.0. As I mentioned earlier, what you are supposed to see is every virus follows a specific pattern, and this is a pattern for code red worm. So, in your memory, in your system's memory, if you can see the sentences or the characters like this, you can immediately find out that this is nothing but a presence of code red worm. Next is storage pattern. Start the virus code becomes a detectable signature. As you saw in the code red, it starts with a /default.ida. So, it is one who sees it, immediately it strikes that this is a starting of a virus signature. The attached piece is always located at the same position relative to its attached file. As in the previous module, I have shown how a virus attaches itself to a program. So, this slide says the virus always attaches itself to a fixed location. Where virus resides? Sometimes at the beginning, sometimes 400 bytes from the top, not necessarily 400 bytes, it is just an example. It may be from n bytes from the top or at the bottom of the infected file. These are just a sample position of the virus. Virus code always has a recognizable pattern. The virus code that resides at the beginning of the program performs malicious duty before the normal code is invoked. So, if you remember my figure in the previous module, when a virus code resides at the top of the original program, first the control goes to the virus program. Once virus code execution is finished, the original program takes over. Virus infection is a handful of instruction pointing to or jump to more detailed instruction. So, maybe when you see a virus code, what it says jump JMP 1000, and there the detailed instructions for executing the virus programs are written. So, sometimes it is just a simple jump instruction that the virus infection has. Now, what are the storage patterns? As I mentioned, sometimes the virus code is attached before the original program or the top of the original program. In the virus code, what we have written is if some condition jump, so it just jumps to the separate virus module. Sometimes the condition is mentioned or sometimes it is an unconditional jump. So, this is what we discussed, that it jumps to the virus module, and in the virus module there are detailed instructions written. What does a virus writer choose? He may choose to have a virus that is attached to a file, and in turn the virus file increases the original file size. So, if a user looks at the size of the original file, he may realize that something has gone wrong. The second way is a virus may wipe out all or part of the underlying program, and the program's functionality gets changed. To elaborate my point, if you have written a program which reads a reads a character from the keyboard, then it adds 30 to the character and then it prints. Now, virus program, what does it do? It just removes the part of the program, original program, where a character is read from the keyboard. Virus just removes it and only there is an increment in the character and printing. So, what virus has done? Removing the part of the original program. So, program's now functionality has changed. It does not ask the person to enter a key from the keyboard or enter a character from the keyboard. The question is how virus scanner finds a pattern. So, virus scanner utilizes the code or checksum to detect changes to the file. Checksum is a normal function which may compute based on some function. There is a computation value which is appended to a file. At the virus scanner once again computes the checksum and finds out whether the same checksum is generated which has already been appended to the file. If they match, that means the file has not been modified, otherwise the file has been modified. The virus scanner looks for doubtful patterns such as jump instruction as the first instruction of a system program, as virus residing at the bottom of the file, but wants to get executed first. We have seen the storage pattern of the virus. The next we are going to discuss about the execution pattern. Virus writer expects a virus to do several things at the same time: spread infection, avoid detection and cause the harm. Okay. Now, we are going to see virus effect and how it is being caused. So, first virus effect is attached to executable program. So, if a virus wants to attach itself to some executable program, how it can be done? It has to modify the file directory and write to executable program file. Fine. So, if we have an executable program called read module.exe and virus wants to attach itself, then naturally it has to modify this read module.exe. The second virus effect is attached to data or control file. Once again, how it can be done? Modify the directory, rewrite the data, append to data, append data to virus. You got the difference between append to data and append data to self. That means, virus program will be appended with the data. In the other case, the virus data is appended to the virus program. The third virus effect is remain in memory handler address table. You all know for every action that occurs with a system, there is a module attached to it. For example, pressing a key from the keyboard. How to interpret it? For that, there is a routine in a memory. So, there is an address handler table which tells you that for the particular action what module should be called. Now, virus wants to remain in memory handler address table. So, intercept interrupt by modifying interrupt. Load self in non-transient memory area. We have seen transient and non-transient. Transient means when the program executes, it is there in the memory. Non-transient means always the program always remains in the memory. So, virus would load itself into the area where the swapping is not done, so that virus can remain in the memory. Infect disk. The next virus effect is infect disks, intercept the interrupt, intercept operating system call, modify the system file, modify ordinary executable program. Infect disk. To infect a disk, what I can explain you is, in the operating system there is a command called format disk. So, what virus do? Virus would intercept this operating system call of format disk, and it would try to format the disk according to the pattern which a virus want. Next virus effect is conceal self falsify result. The idea is the virus would be hidden, and results, whatever result or whatever is the outcome of the system call, that would be some different result would come out of the system call. How it is caused? Intercept system calls that reveal self and classify self as a hidden file. Next virus effect is spread infection. How it is being caused? Infect the boot sector, infect systems program, infect ordinary programs, infect data ordinary program, lids and control execution. Next virus effect is prevent deactivation. Now, usually what happens, as I mentioned, virus is attached to a program. When a program starts, virus also starts. When a program ends, virus ends. But now in this case, what does a virus do? It activates itself before deactivating program and block store copy and block that deactivating program. Or else what virus will do? It will store its own copy in some other area, and even if it is removed once, it would reactivate itself or reinfect. I think the point is clear to you. There is some program that identifies the virus and removes it. But what a virus will do? It will store its own copy in some other area and then reinfect the system by reactivating itself. We have seen the execution pattern. Now we are looking at the transmission pattern. A virus arrives on a diskette from a network connection. A virus travels during its host's execution to a hard disk boot sector. It gets activated on booting of the host system. Virus remains in memory so that it can infect the other disks when exist. We are looking at the polymorphic viruses. Polymorphic viruses, suppose a virus always begins with the string 47F0F00E08. This is a hexadecimal number. The point is this is a fixed string with which virus begins. So, if you find out this string in a memory, realize that this is the beginning of a virus program. Now, that virus has a string 00113FFF at the location 12. So, there are less probability that other virus may have the same signature. There are many viruses that exist in the network or internet or in computers. No two viruses have the same signature. Some viruses may just display a message, some viruses may infect your hard disk, some viruses may crash your system. So, there are no two viruses having the same signature. But if a virus signature is very long, there are chances that there is some duplication of code in those viruses. Now, polymorphic, to avoid detection by the virus scanner, virus changes the strings to be written in specified position. Sometimes what happens, a virus chooses one string out of the two alternatives. So, sometimes it writes the first string, sometimes it writes the second string. So, virus scanner has to check for both the strings, because virus randomly chooses out of these two alternatives. A virus that can change its appearance is called polymorphic virus. The meaning of polymorphic, poly means many, morph means form. So, one who takes many forms is called polymorphic virus. Going ahead with the polymorphic virus, to prevent detection, virus takes either a large or an unlimited number of forms. Virus scanner would not be able to search it. Polymorphic virus randomly positions all parts of itself and randomly changes all the fixed data. As I said, if a virus has a virus has to choose one from two alternatives, it would randomly choose the first and the second. So, if there is a randomness, virus scanner has to apply all the possibilities to find out the behavior of the virus. Sometimes a polymorphic virus changes the pattern. Instead of containing the fish string saying that ha infected by the virus, it may change the pattern. Polymorphic virus, going ahead with a discussion, a virus writer has 100 bytes of code and 50 bytes of data. Now, how this 100 bytes of code and 50 bytes of data would be arranged? So, one way to arrange it, the first is have all 100 bytes of code and then have all 50 bytes of code. In another variant, what happens, they write all 99 bytes of the code, have 50 bytes of the data and then the last byte of code. In another variant, have 98 bytes of code, have 50 bytes of data and then 2 bytes of code. So, on the variations can go on 97 bytes of code, 50 bytes of data and then 3 bytes of code, and so forth. So, virus writer creates different patterns, different appearance to remain undetected from simple virus scanners. Scanner writers refine their signature definitions by knowing virus writer tricks. So, virus scanner writer has to learn the mind of the virus writer, so that all possible patterns can be identified. Talking about sophisticated polymorphic virus, here the idea is randomly intermixes the harmless instructions throughout its code. The meaning is the code is written, but it is not harmful. The first example is addition of 0 to a number. If you add 0 to any number, the result is the number itself. The second is movement of a byte value to its own location. That means you are reading a byte from a particular location and putting the same byte at that location. So, actually no action has been taken. Then there is a jump instruction to the next instruction. Anyway, if you have a program sequence and you are executing one instruction, then the next would be the next instruction that is going to be executed. So, having jump to the next instruction, it is of no use, but virus writer may add this kind of instructions. For what purpose? Because these extra instructions are difficult to locate, and it even more difficult is to locate the invariant signature. Encrypting the viruses. Polymorphic viruses uses encryption under various keys. Once it is encrypted, it is very difficult to find out the stored form of the virus. This type of virus must contain 3 distinct parts. A decryption key should be there, because when a virus wants to execute itself, it has to decrypt itself. So, a decryption key is needed. The encrypted object module of the virus and the unencrypted object code of the decryption routine. So, what decryption process you are going to follow, it should also be written in the unencrypted form. So, these 3 things should be stored for encrypted viruses. Who all are the source of viruses? Virus is rather small, its code can be hidden inside other larger and more complicated programs. What steps can be taken to prevent the virus infection? Do not share the executable which already has the infected source. How a program becomes executable? If it's a .exe, then it's a executable. So, check if that exe is corrupted, then don't spread it. There are certain word processor programs, spreadsheets, presentations and other office or business related files which contains macros. They have the scripts, those can execute in various ways and they are the port of viruses. So, do not spread them. What are the approach of virus writer? Virus writer usually if it is a Word document, usually it has a .doc extension, but what a virus writer do, it gives an additional extension and it keeps the true document type hidden, and whatever type it is giving, it is shown to the user. Saying that you have a Word document, so its extension would be .doc, but now the virus writer has given it an extra extension .ppt. The operating system, what would it try to do? It would try to open this with a PowerPoint or any related software that can open the PPT file. Now, if but originally it is a doc file, so PowerPoint will not be able to open it. So, it becomes unsuccessful and system switches to the application of the hidden file type. The virus writer creates an executable file, names it with an inappropriate extension and sends it to the victim, describing it as a picture or necessary code to add in or something that user looks for. The unaware recipient would open the file and execute the malicious code. This executable code hides in files containing large data set. It may have pictures or read-only documents. Neither the virus scanner nor the human eye can detect it. In a file containing a photograph, suppose every 16th bit is a virus code, then human eye or any virus scanner would not be able to identify that the 16th bit is a virus code. What are the precautions against virus? Never use anything that has come from outside source. Always assume that whatever has come from the outside is infected. There are several techniques suggested for the safe community for electronic contact. Use only commercial software, those are reliable and got from the well established vendors. First, test all softwares in the isolated environments. Open attachments only when you think that they are safe. Make a recoverable system image and store it safely. Make and retain backup copies of the executable system files. Use virus detectors regularly and always update the virus detectors or virus scanners. What we call is antivirus. So, there are certain questions that always asked regarding the virus. Does virus only infect Windows system? False. It can infect Linux systems as well. It can infect Mac systems. Viruses can modify hidden or read-only files. True. We usually think that if I have made a file hidden, the virus cannot infect it, but virus can also infect hidden files. Viruses can appear only in data files or only in Word documents or only in programs. False. Virus can be there in the memory as well. Viruses spread only on disks or only in email. False. Viruses cannot remain in memory after a complete power on reboot. True. Virus has to activate itself from the permanent storage. Viruses cannot infect hardware. True. Viruses can be malevolent, benign or benevolent. Benign and benevolent means it may not have any harmful effect. True. We want to see the example of the malicious code. It is a brain virus. What does a brain virus do? It changes the label of the disk to word brain. Virus first locates itself in the upper memory, then executes a system call to reset the upper memory bound below itself, and that it is not disturbed as it works. Brain virus usually traps interrupt number 19, which is for disk read. You all know there are interrupts attached to the system which perform certain functionality. The interrupt in discussion is interrupt number 19, which is responsible for reading from disk. Brain virus resets the interrupt address table to point to itself. I mean, interrupt number 19, the memory is attached to interrupt number 19 where actual instruction for the interrupt 19 is written. Now, what a brain virus does? It changes the pointer. It sets the interrupt number 6, which is unused, at the address of interrupt 19. So, now whenever disk read disk is performed, it does not go to interrupt number 19, but it will go to interrupt number 6, where the virus has written its own instruction for reading. Now, what does a virus do? It instead issued the virus screens the disk read calls issued to read the boot sector. It passes the control back to the original boot contents that were moved to one of the bad sectors, and other disk calls go to normal disk read handler through interrupt number 6. The brain virus positions itself in the boot sector and in 6 other sectors of the disk. So, all in all, there are 6 sectors which are infected. One of the 6 sectors containing the original boot code. I hope the flow of the virus is clear. The brain virus sits in the boot sector. The original boot sector is now moved to somewhere else, where there are 6 sectors which are under the control of this brain virus. One of the 6 sector contains the original boot code, moved there from the original boot sector. Other 2 contain the remaining code for the virus, and there are remaining 3 that contain duplicate of the 3 which we talked about. To clear out the flow, in the original boot sector the virus is residing. Virus has a control of other 6 sectors. In the very first sector, it has a original boot record. After that, there are 2 others who are having the virus code. The rest of the 3 contains the copy of the 3. The virus marks these 6 sectors as a faulty. So, operating system does not try to use them. The virus allows the boot process to continue. Now, once the brain virus is in the memory, the virus intercepts the disk read request for the disk drive under attack. With each read, the virus reads the boot sector, inspects the 5th and 6th bytes for the hexadecimal value 1, 2, 3, 4. So, that is a signature for the brain virus. Disk is infected if the value is found. So, if disk is already infected, there is no point in infecting the disk. If this pattern is not found, that means the disk is not infected and the brain virus would try to infect the disk. So, this is how the brain virus works. Now, you are clear what is the storage part, what is the signature of the virus, what is its storage pattern, what is its execution pattern, how a virus writer distracts the virus scanner by having multiple forms, that is polymorphic virus, and at last we saw the signature of the brain virus. Thank you. Thank you.